Do you hate cleaning your juicer? Does cleaning your juicer ever discourage you from using it? Well, I'm about to show you one of the most cutting edge juicers you'll ever come across. In this Hurom H400 review, we're going to cover how simple it is to use, exactly how much juice it yields compared to other machines, and if it's actually as easy to clean as everybody says it is. So finally, I did it. I broke down and I got myself the BMW of juicers. This is the packaging that it came in, and to be honest, I expected something a little bit more flashy, shiny, and clean, but who gives a heck about the box? Let's see what's inside. Opening up, there's this brown envelope with a starter guide and then a set of 3 simple boxes. Let's go ahead and unbox this thing in 3, 2, 1, and there it is. It's just 2 simple pieces. Plus, you get a juicing cup, a small brush, and a recipe book. But this would be a terrible Hurom H400 review if I didn't show you this. It's the #1 thing that sets this juicer apart from the rest, and I'm pretty sure that you're gonna love this when I explain what it does. Check out this auger. It pulls apart like a Lego set, and there are 2 reasons why I love this. The first is that it's easy to rinse all the pulp that gets stuck to it, and the second is that it's more durable than your typical juicing screen. Juicing screens are made of stainless steel and cheap plastic. Over time, they can crack and break pretty easily, but with this thing, it feels like it'll last a lot longer. This next feature made me think, why didn't they make this years ago? Underneath, there's this mechanism that I like to call the drawbridge. And if you've ever owned a juicer before, then you know just how difficult it is to clean the area around the pulp ejector. You usually have to take a brush and waste 15 minutes digging the pulp out, but with this juicer, you can just flip open the drawbridge and rinse out the pulp in 15 seconds. So it's much easier to clean than your average. And it's even got this nifty juicing cap to prevent leaking, so you don't have to worry about cleaning up your table either. The hopper has a 550 milliliter capacity, and I found that you can make about 2 to 2.5 cups of full juice when you're going in your batching. And then if you look at the bottom of the hopper, there's these set of blades. These blades do the prep work for you, so you don't have to waste time chopping up all your fruits and vegetables. All you have to do is just load up the juicer, flick the switch, and then walk away. You can go back to whatever it is you were doing before. And now, I know you might be thinking, where does the pulp get ejected? Well, Hurom built a removable pulp container into the back of the machine. So there you have it. It's as simple gets, but instead of me telling you, why don't I just show you? Okay, so we're gonna see how quickly I can put the Hurom H400 together without looking at the instructions. Boom, there it is. It only takes a whopping 12 seconds. Now just think about how much more use you'll get out of your juicer when it's that quick to set up. But we haven't even gotten to the best part. Look, I can show you all the bells and whistles on this thing, exactly how much time you can save yourself by getting one of these. You know what? None of this matters as much as this next part we're about to dive into. You're probably dying to know, how much juice can you efficiently extract with this machine? Well, we're gonna put it to the test and find out. Okay, for starters, we're gonna test out a basic green juice recipe. We've got ourselves cucumber, celery, spinach, and kiwi. Let's go ahead and load up the hopper with all the ingredients and then let it rip. You can see the Hurom H400 going to work here. It's oddly satisfying for me to watch it crush all the ingredients and sweep them around in a circle. So when I first started using the machine, there was this slight squeaking noise, but as I started to use it more, it went away. The meter is showing about 60 decibels of noise on average, and just for some context, your average blender is about 100 decibels plus. So that means this juicer is about half as quiet in comparison, which means if you're somebody who likes to juice early in the morning and you don't want to wake up your kids or your significant other, well, this juicer is going to be plenty quiet for you. And we can start to see the juice levels starting to rise, and the pulp is getting pushed out through the back of the machine into the BPA-free container. Last but not least, let's open the cap and check out the juice. Whoa, look at that nice and vibrant green juice. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a splash of lemon and some chia seeds to this. After taste testing it, I wanted to make it just a bit sweeter. And you know what fruit is perfect for the job? Green apple. They're low in sugar and they have more antioxidants compared to red, but instead of chopping it up, I'm just gonna drop the full apple inside the hopper and see what happens. As you can see, it's just mauling the apple, making my life so much easier. There's no cutting board, no accidentally slicing my finger, and no mess after. Now, let's look at how dry the pulp is. You can see I'm squeezing it and only a few drops came out from the pulp, which isn't too bad. I didn't have any crazy expectations for this one, and that's because cucumbers can be notoriously tricky to juice. And I can't wait to see how it works with other juice recipes from my ebook, Juicing for Beginners. The book has over 40 chef-crafted recipes that are all beginner-friendly with simple and everyday ingredients that you can find at your grocery store, and it was fact-checked by a nutritionist. Over 200 people have bought it already, and there's a link in the description in case you want to check it out. But now, for the moment of truth, I'm about to show you exactly how much juice this thing yields and how it compares to similar juicers. Through the power of caffeine, Wi-Fi, and sheer determination, I've done all the hard work for you. To accurately assess the juice yield, I picked 4 pieces of produce to measure. We've got celery, ginger, oranges, and leafy greens. Why did I choose these? Well, they're a good benchmark for fibrous, hard, medium, and soft produce. Before we start, these tests aren't perfect, and your results may vary depending on the size, the shape, and the juiciness of the individual produce you're using. But all in all, I'd say I did my best to make it as fair and as accurate as possible. For celery, I measured out 6 ounces. Check out these blades. Look at them go to work on that celery. You can see there's a little bit getting wrapped around, but it's nothing crazy. The pulp wasn't bone dry or anything, but only about 5 or 6 drops came out. And in terms of the yield, I personally felt like it was high, testing all the machines that I've tested out before. But let's measure it out to see what it actually was, and it turned out to be 132 milliliters of juice. For ginger, I measured out 1.3 ounces, and I made a bit of a rookie mistake here. When putting ginger into the hopper, you either have to slice it into thin pieces or put really large amount of ginger in there, because the blades will just keep sweeping it around until it falls through the hole. And if the ginger is wider than the opening, you'll need to wait for the blades to sort of hack it down into finer pieces. And looking at how much juice it made, it's about 21 milliliters of juice. If we take a look at the pulp, it seems a little bit deceiving because my hands were wet from cleaning the juicer prior. But as you can see, I couldn't even squeeze out 1 drop from the pulp. Next, I used 1 whole orange, which came out to be 8.5 ounces. Oranges are much softer, and again, we can sort of see the same thing happening here. The oranges kept getting swept around until the blades eventually broke them down enough into small enough pieces to make it fit in the hole that goes down into the auger. That turned out to be 162 milliliters of juice, not much pulp, and it was pretty dry. After running a squeeze test, I couldn't even get 1 drop of OJ out of the pulp. For leafy greens, I used about 2 ounces, and believe it or not, that's about a half bag of spinach. What always blows my mind is how little juice you get from half a bag of leafy greens. Unless you're batch juicing, you probably don't want to use a half bag anyway. Leafy greens are high in oxalate, and high oxalate can increase the odds of kidney stones for people who are prone to them. So the hopper took some time to dice up the leaves, but eventually it got the job done. Let's open the cap and then give this a good tip over to see how much juice we're able to get. So looking at it, it's about 28 milliliters of juice on this one. The pulp was mushy, but it was pretty dry. I struggled to get a few drops squeezed out. So how does the Hurom H400 stack up against similar juicers? Well, here's the scorecard. My initial impressions were this is probably as efficient as it gets. For juice yield, pretty much it outperforms in every category. But here's the thing, while getting the most juice out of your juicer is important, it's not nearly as crucial as this next part, cleanup. I've seen people buy juicers and then watch them sit on their shelves after a couple of months. And you know why? It's because they're such a pain to clean. I still have the battle scars to prove it from the cheap horizontal Omega days. And now it's no surprise that one of the best benefits about this juicer is how easy it is to clean. But is this just a marketing gimmick, or is this as easy to clean as advertised? Let's put some time on the clock and find out. 3, 2, 1. And there it is. It only takes about 1 minute to clean this thing. And if you want to see how that compares against similar juicers in the same price range, check out this scorecard. Not only is it one of the most efficient juicers, but it's also one of the fastest to clean. Here's the thing, I'd be lying to you if I said that this juicer was perfect. There was only one con to the H400 that I could find, and for most people, it's not a big deal, but I want you to at least be aware of it so you know what you're getting into. Are you ready to find out what that is? So remember how I mentioned how awesome the auger is? Well, because it doesn't use a juicing screen with holes, microscopic traces of pulp are able to make their way into your juice. Now, the machine might be a lot easier to clean, but you're gonna have to deal with a little bit more pulp in your glass. It's a trade-off, and it's one I've been willing to make every single day, because for me, it wasn't a deal breaker. And if I'm being honest with you, no matter which juicer you buy, and I've tested a lot, you'll never get 100% pulp-free juice unless you use something like a sieve. Like I mentioned before, for me personally, it was hardly noticeable, and because the machine was so simple and easy to clean, I found myself getting much more use out of this juicer than any other juicer I've tried in the past. So you're probably wondering what makes the Hurom H400 different than the rest of the juicers. Well, the Hurom H400 solves 3 key areas that are horrible pain for people. Have you ever heard of something called KISS? And no, I'm not talking about the rock band. It stands for Keep It Simple, Stupid. iPhone has all your music messages and photos at your fingertips. Kindle lets you store thousands of books on one device. Crockpots, you set it, forget it, and then you can enjoy the food later. All the best products are simple. and the H400 isn't any different. It has less parts compared to your average juicer, so you don't spend ages cleaning it or dealing with loose parts that could break, and I was able to put it together in 12 seconds, which is a lot faster than any other juicer I've tested. Speaking of saving time, can I be honest with you? I hate having to crack out my cutting board.
Which leads me to the next best part about the Hurom H400. You can load this thing up with whole fruits and whole vegetables, saving you even more time. And I know what you're thinking, don't most juicers already do this? The higher end ones, yeah, but there's a key difference. The hopper lets you load up fruits and vegetables and then you can walk away. So you can go back to whatever it is you were doing before. You don't have to sit next to the machine and constantly feed it. Also, other juicers are still using a traditional style auger with a mesh juicing screen. The Hurom H400 is scrubless, meaning you can pull it apart into 2 pieces and rinse it in just 1 minute and 6 seconds for easy cleanup. That's probably the #1 reason this juicer stands out from the rest. It's easy to clean. It's as simple as splashing the BPA-free plastic with water, and that's all. And yeah, this juicer is expensive, there's no doubting that, but imagine what people think when they walk into your kitchen and they see the BMW of juicers used by NFL athletes like Nick Bosa from the San Francisco 49ers. One guy even compared the Hurom H400 to his $3,000 Norwalk, saying the juice quality was neck and neck. So for a quarter of the price, you can invest in a machine that has the same juice quality as a $3,000 machine. I bought my H400 in one go, but some people like to ask if Hurom offers any payment plans. I did some digging, and while Hurom doesn't offer financing directly, they do allow PayPal credit. So PayPal credit gives you 6 months to pay the juicer off without paying a dime of interest. So for $116 a month, you can have the Hurom H400 at your doorstep in the next 2 to 3 business days. And if you don't like the Hurom, they give you a generous 30-day money-back guarantee, which means there's no harm in trying it out. So is the Hurom H400 worth it? Honestly, the Hurom H400 has some unique benefits that you can't get with other juicers. So you gotta ask yourself, do you hate cleaning and scrubbing your juicer? Do you value your time? Do you like having the same juice quality as a $3,000 machine? If you answered yes to any of those questions above, then I think the Hurom H400 is the right choice for you. What I found is the best juicer is the one that you can use the most. It's the one that removes the most friction between you and the juicing process. And after testing this juicer for 30 days, it's been one I've used more than any other machine. So if you're tired of looking at yourself in the mirror, frustrated with the way that you look, and you want to make a change, you want to make the first step towards a healthier and happier you, I'd click the link in the description below for a discount on the H400. I can't guarantee how long it'll last, so if you're looking to save some money, don't wait, go check it out.